Hey guys, welcome back, and let's continue with the next topic. Okay, so in the last class, guys, I have talked about that if you want to implement microservices, okay, so there's lots of concept, guys, in the microservices. We have just started to discuss about a microservice, right? But right now, just think microservice, and one microservice is one app or one independent app. Okay, and if you want to communicate to this microservice, or in the simple term, if you want to communicate to the app so that this app will do something for you, because every app has a one responsibility, one service to perform, something will do for you. Okay, then whoever communicate this app, let's say in normal world, app is one kind of services, one kind of server. Okay, and in the real world, a user or the client or the customer are the one who communicate to the app. Yeah, what they do, they will request, and whatever the request, accordingly this app will respond them. This called response, request and response. Okay, but in the real world, mostly the way we communicate this app, okay, we use a protocol called HTTP protocol. HTTP is very standard protocol, almost everyone support. Okay, every client support, every client browser support, every client program support. So in the real world, most we use HTTP. When I say HTTP, I mean to say HTTPS also, but both are same. Only difference is encryption. Okay, so my point here is, if you want to use any services, any app, the service may be microservices, but technically service only. Okay, whoever connect to these microservices, maybe a client, maybe a user, maybe other microservices, the way they communicate is using HTTP protocol. Okay, so in the simple time, I can write here, okay, if this system is running with the app or the service, my client is going to communicate with a protocol, okay, called HTTP protocol. And obviously, when they reach here, this system should run some port number so that they can connect on this port. Okay, and after this port, they will communicate the services and ask them whatever they will perform for you. Okay, this is one thing. But next thing is, okay, if you just see very high level overview, right? Any app that you connect, okay, every app will perform something for you. Okay, that's the reason VK is the app. Okay, but before they perform anything, any app before they perform anything, okay, you should be very clear what you're looking for. Okay, do you want to read some data from this app? Okay, I will provide you some data. Or do you want to send some data or create something over there? Okay, so that's what I explained in my last class. This is CURD operation: create, read, update, delete. So you should be very clear what action you want to perform. So these are known as actions. Okay, and whatever actions you would like to perform, you have to tell to your protocol the way you go and reach to your services. You tell to the protocol that this is what the actions you have to perform, and this action in this protocol is normally known as verb, or the methods, maybe also known as verb or actions. Okay, so if you are the client, you have to tell to the app using this protocol that these are the actions you have to perform. Okay, and the CURD is a very common term we can use anywhere in the data world, but in the HTTP world, the read read is mostly known by a keyword or HTTP verb known as get. Means if client want to get some data from the app or read some data from the app, client will say, I would like to use get method or get verb of HTTP. Okay. Or if client want to put some data and create some data, create means they want to upload something, like the way you upload something on Facebook to post or images and videos. Then we use post. We use this keyword post. Okay. If you want to delete some data, so in the real world we use the word delete, but here we again use the method by some name is same, delete method. So these are different HTTP verb, HTTP actions, or method, whatever the term you want to say here. Okay. Do you want to update any data? In the real will say, I want to update my data. Maybe have some post already created, and I want to change something in the post. I want to change my images, my DP. Then we have a put, or maybe sometimes we use the patch also. Okay, that's what we have today. The point here is this information I given to you in my last class. We'll go more into this when we start creating these points. Okay, the point here is, okay, whichever app you create, the client will do something with the app. And these are the very common operations you do. So I can say these are the operations you do. But this is just a concept name and operations name. Okay, because you are connecting the app via this protocol. So you have to use their language. And their language is they use verb, they use keyword methods. And these are their keywords: get, post, delete, and put and post. And then there will be much more on it. Okay. So, in the market, what we have done, we have created some standardized name, a standardized way to connect one client to app, or one service to other service, one microservice to other microservices. Okay, so those are known as specifications. There's some standardized specifications we have created in the market. So if everybody follow this specification, they become a standard. It means if you want to create something, always client has to send post. So your services can understand you are on to upload something. So this application may Facebook created by a different developer. This application may be a client app created by different developers. Mobile app we created normally, created by different companies. So Facebook understand the meaning of post means want to create something. Okay. And this client also know the meaning of post means want to create something. It's called standard. So we create one document, one standard specifications. Okay. And in the world, everybody will follow the standard specifications. And these spaces have multiple names. But one of the very famous name in the market, they become very popular, is called REST APIs. Okay. So REST API is one kind of standard specification. Okay, what is API? I told you in my last class. Because every app, if you want to connect, then we have some kind of program they run with some kind of port number. Okay, it's one kind of interface. So my client can use this interface to go in. It's the API. Okay. So before guys, I go ahead, this is not a perfect definition of what I'm trying to explain you, but I just want to give you some very quick terms here. Okay. So if you see very quickly about REST API, maybe if you have some Wikipedia document that give you better information always. So Wikipedia of the REST API. So it is a kind of specifications, definition. Okay, in the world of web development, in the world of services, microservices. Okay, where they guide you, okay, this is the standard we have to use to connect to each other. They will help you to design a very standard architectural pattern. Okay, So guys, right now it's very harder to understand this concept. Okay, if you guys are very new in this world, don't worry. As we progress, I explain these concepts to you. But I just want to set one basic context here is think microservice is one app. Okay, and in this app, we use REST API as a very commonly used standard. So other microservices can connect to each other, can communicate to each other, because I told you, okay, we have big app, multiple microservices, everybody has their individual duty, and somehow they connect and talk to each other. The way they talk, they use a REST API. When it's a REST API, it means a lot. It means they communicate with HTTP or HTTPS protocol. It means they use this kind of standard keywords like CURD operations, what I'm talking about, get, post, and all the things. And then many more things to add. Okay, so my intention is to start today's class in this way, is to tell you, if you want to work on microservices, then the minimum requirement is you should be good in REST API. If you don't know anything about the REST API and much more complex thing about the REST API, you can't do much in the microservices world. So in the other world, you can say the prerequisite for the microservices is a REST API. Okay, so if you don't understand what I was trying to explain you, don't worry, that's what is my responsibility to make you understand these concepts. Okay, but my intention is to tell you the prerequisite sorry, for the microservices is the REST API. Okay, it's just a concept, and this concept we use very heavily in the microservice world. Without REST API, thing won't work. That's what I can say. Okay, and to implement the REST API very quickly, either you can develop from the scratch by yourself if you're good in programming and if you do create everything from the scratch. But if you should be great in the programming world, plus you should be take a lot of time to develop. So either you create everything from the scratch. REST API is available to us with the help of some kind of framework, and the framework that we are going to use is called Quarkus. It's one of the framework, especially for JVM or for Java world. For other languages, we have different framework available. Okay, but Quarkus is not only to implement the REST API. There's much more things they can develop and they can implement for you. So as we progress in the microservice, we need many more things in the future classes. So whatever those things are going to come up, I will explain to you. Okay, so let's start our training from here. So my today's class, guys, his motto is to directly jump to the Quarkus, because in my last class I explained you how to install the Quarkus and set up the lab. Okay, and with the help of this Quarkus, okay, we're going to quickly implement the REST APIs. And as I progress, I keep on explaining you multiple different part of the REST API. As we progress more in today's class or maybe next class, both the class together give you the entire definition of the REST API, and then you become very much comfortable on this topic of REST API. Okay, so let's start our class. So now from here, I'm going to start the things from very zero, from very basics. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me first shut down some of my system to save my resources. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the minimum requirement I told you guys in my last class, you need Java to be installed. Right now I'm using Windows as my base system. You need Java to be installed. In my case, I have Java 17 from some Amazon Corretto Java. Okay, you can use Oracle Java also. You need Maven, is a very important tool to use. Okay, in my case, we have some 3.8 version of Maven, and maybe using the same Java what I installed in my system. This is the minimum requirement you need. Okay, now what can we do? Quarkus is just a library of the Java. It's not an independent software. When it's a library, you can think, those who know Java, you can think something like a package, something like software of Java. So you don't need to install the Quarkus separately. Okay, This library or these packages can be downloaded and installed by a tool called Maven. Maven will download and install this package for you. Maven has some more responsibility. Normally, guys, in the programming world, when you develop the app, you have to create a folder. Inside the folder, you keep all the code files and many more things. And this folder, you guys know, is known as projects. Okay. And projects is also known as, in this world of app, also known as artifact. Artifact. So when I say artifact, project, folder, it is the same thing. Okay. And what artifact contain? Multiple files. Every file contain different kind of code and many more things. So Maven duty is to create your projects also. So if you want to create a project or the artifact, Maven have a capability to create the project for you very quickly. And inside one project, there's much more things. So these things I explained to you already in my last class. So let me quickly create the project by the command we used in the last class. Okay. Then we jump to the REST API part. I will pick one by one topic and make you explain this concept. And why we use Quarkus, that also one point to know again. So when we write the code, we will understand why we need the Quarkus. Okay, so I'm going to go to one of my folder, and the folder may be Quarkus code. Okay, and I don't know, let me create a new folder. I don't know which folder I used in my last class. It's a different maybe folder, microservice code. Okay, and here, guys, I'm going to create a new Maven project, or the Quarkus project, I can say. Okay, the command is Maven, and I'll tell the Maven that I want you just go to Quarkus website. It's called Quarkus package name. Okay, and download one Quarkus plugin from Maven. So Maven install and create a project for you, and after this, create the project for you. Okay, and every project has their own project name. It's called project artifact. Project artifact ID. In my case, let's say this is my REST app. Okay, and then what I want to do, every project, guys, you should have some kind of project group ID. Project group ID, I explained in my last class. Project group ID. And this is standard command we would always use. I'll copy this command, so in the future we don't have to type. We keep on using this. Okay. And project group ID would be like a package name. Okay, package name means you going to create a multiple folders. And package name, mostly, guys, you write your domain names. Let's say domain com.linux world in reverse order. Then you can write your maybe department name, or maybe you can say this is my test app. Okay, so this group ID means technically they create one package name for you, or can create a folder for you. Com, these are the folder they create. Okay, so that's just the way to manage the things. And finally, the important thing is your class name, where you keep your first class, means first code. Okay, and normally, guys, we keep code in this folder only. So whichever folder you put your project, same folder, you keep your class name. Class name is like a your code. Okay, and your code would be, let's say, hello app. Okay, or let's word hello. Okay, that's all. So this command, guys, we run in the last class. Let me copy this file, this code. So this code we don't do type again and again in the future. We keep on adding some new functionality on it, but this is what we have created. So finally, Maven will create a new project for you. Maven will create a new project for you. And this project contains a lot of Quarkus libraries. All the functionality of Quarkus we can use. One of the functionality Quarkus will provide us that they give us a very quick way to create the REST APIs. And that's what the plan for today. And how we can do, we'll see. That time I explain you more about this REST API from very basics. Okay, that's what they are doing for you. Okay, and what are those things I explained in my last class? This would be a folder name or the project name they're going to create for us. Okay, so by the meantime, guys, they're downloading. Oh, sorry. Why are they asking me again project ID and project version? Let me say Control C. Okay, let me rerun it. I think command is right. So command is format is create. This is what we use, and my REST API is the, let me check the keywords. D is capital RT. So spelling is wrong actually mine. That was the challenge was coming. RT fact. If you don't give this option, they will ask you in the command prompt. You don't have, when you read create, even though you don't have to write this line, when you hit enter, they ask you, tell me your name, all the things. So again, we don't have to write this big name, big keywords here, but if you don't want to, they ask you as an input, then you can type in that this is the name. Okay, so just waiting this project to be created. Be sure this is a capital letter, name and capital. In project G or I is capital. Okay, project group ID, and project artifact ID is also capital. Yeah, so successfully created, very quick, because I told you, okay, because all the library I need, it is there in my system already. Okay, first time will take a lot of time, but according to this command, right, whatever name you give as an artifact ID, same folder they create for you. That's what I'm talking about. Artifact ID equal to project name and the folder name. And inside this folder, lots of things they give to us. That's what we need. Okay, so we go do a lot of integration with Docker and other content technology, cloud, and 100 more things. They give you preset. So integration would be so simple. Okay, but working directly with this code is very harder. Okay, so I'm going to use IntelliJ as your IDE, or you can use Eclipse and Visual Studio Code also to work on this project. So let me load this project. It is there in this folder and start working on it. Okay, so till here, mostly guys, we have done in my last class, but very quickly I show this command again one more time. And let me open a new project that is there in my this folder. Let me copy this folder, paste over here, enter. Rather than enter, we'll again open, copy, and inside this folder I want to open this new one that I created today, my REST app. Okay, I trust this, I open the same window. Okay, and now what you will see, one more small thing, the way we write. Okay, I want my entire code would be inside this folder, com _ tag. So if you go inside the SRC folder, in the main folder, in the Java code, you can see this proper folder hierarchy they created. Okay, so inside the com folder in Java, guys, to give the folder, we use dot actually. Com, then _ then tag, and the my test app. So you can see this is what the hierarchy they show you. Okay, and in this hierarchy, they create one class file, my code name with this name, nice world hello app. This is what you can see. That's my final code. Okay, now from here we're going to start our main things, main code, main concepts. Okay, to explain the main concept, okay, let me very quickly explain you in this way. Whenever guys you write a code in any programming language, let's say talk about Java. Okay, you normally put one of the functionality in one function. Let's say I want to do sum. I say LW sum function will create. Okay, and whatever we want to sum, let's say I want to sum 5 plus 2. This is what the functionality I want to do. Okay, and this sum we will do it, and finally when you call this function, run this function, we'll return it. Okay, so technically it means we have this function. Okay, they will do something for you, and who will call this function? Okay, who will call this function? They give the output. Which output they give? Whatever they return. What they return? 5 plus 2. And the point here is how to run this function. Now there's two ways to run this function. Okay, one way to run this function, we can call this function by other function, and the other function mostly in most of programming language is main function. Okay, inside the main function we can call it. So we might have one main function. Inside the main function, you say I want to call this function. Means I want to run this function. So wherever this function is, go here, run and give the output. This is one of the approach we use in any programming language, or less in Java. I'm talking about. Okay, but there's one more way to call this function. The way is if you talk about main function, the challenge in the main function is, okay, let's say this is my current computer where I write the code, and same computer I'm going to run this code. Okay, so in the same system means my same physical hardware that contain my CPU, my RAM, my network devices, my hard disk, means local system. Okay, this function also run the local system. Main function also run this local system. Okay, same system we are calling the function, same system they're giving the output. Okay, so in the simple time I can say main is requesting this function to run, and this function is responding, giving the response, having everything the same computer locally. Okay, but I don't want this. What I want this function maybe running in other computer. Let's say I'm just giving a computer IP address, let's say 100. So I want this function run in IP 100, means different computer, different physical devices. Okay, but this function I want to run means call from other computer. This may be other laptop, for example. Okay, so let's say this IP of the system may be 200. Okay, so I need a capability that this function I can call from other IP addresses. I obviously via the network. Okay, so can this possible? Can we call particular function from some other IP address? Answer yes. And this is something that's a very big thing. It's not a small thing, right? Because why? Because in one code, because this is one big file, this is called program file written in some maybe Java and C++. And this file might contain multiple functions. Maybe you have one more function called hello function, for example. Okay, I'm not asking to run this program file, entire program file. Okay, my requirement is inside this program file, we have multiple functions. Function number 1, different functionality. Function number 2 is different functionality. I want that whenever you want, okay, from other computer, I can give one more term here, remote computers. Okay, I can call particular functionality, whatever we need. I can call either this one, I can call this one. I might not call hello, but I might call this one, or I can call both, whatever I want. Okay, running the entire program is so simple, locally also and remotely also. So those who guys know remote protocol like Telnet and SSH. So running any program, entire program, okay, with SSH, if you guys know remote login, Telnet, if you guys know, we can call it very simply. It's not a big deal. But here, my requirement is very different. My requirement is, I don't want to call the entire program. Okay, I want to call particular functionality inside this entire program. Okay, that's what because that's what we need, right? Okay, every program might contain 100 functionality. Let's say this program is VLC player. VLC player has multiple functionalities: start, stop, pause, cut the video, live streaming. There are different buttons, different functionalities, right? I don't want to call everyone. Okay, maybe I want to call the play button. That's what the function I need. Something like this. So VLC player is one big program file. Let's say this kind of program file. Okay. So point here is I want to call it one particular functionality. Can we achieve this? Yes, that's what we are trying to do it. But interesting thing is that what we want to achieve not from the local call, from the main function. I don't want to call locally by some other function. Main is other function here. I want to call this function remotely. That's what the point is. Now what I'm going to do, I'll focus on this part only. Calling this function, a main function, is very simple. If you guys know a little bit programming language, how you can call very easily. Okay. And that is the reason we create a main function mostly. So if you guys learn C, C++, Java, why we create a main function? Because we can call other functions whenever we want. Okay. But my point is we don't want to call locally. So we don't need main function. What I want this part to be achieved. So let's zoom this part. Let's focus on this part. Now we have one function. Let's say LWSum function, what I write here. Okay. And from other laptop, I want to run this function. Right now, this is a function I'm talking about, not the entire program file, not the entire app, only the function. Okay. Can we call it? Yes. Okay. But who created the function? Some developer in their whatever language would be. In my case, let's say they created a language called Java. So they decide what this function will do. So they decide in this case, when you run this function, they always return something. They always give some output. By chance, in my case, I give the output, let's say 5 plus 2, 7. They always give the output, let's say 7. So the developer of this function, they decide what they want to do this, and they decide they will want to give the output. It means if from here, let's say this computer, let's say if this is my computer, well, I'm the user of this function, or maybe I can use one named client. I'm the client of this function. So when we call this function, they give the output. If they give the output, so where the output goes? Obviously to you, because you are the one who is calling. For example, in normal programming world, if main function call the function, the main will get the output. The function will respond to the main. Right? Here, because we from the different computer calling this function, so who will get the output? You. So technically, when you call the function will give the output to you. So it is more like, okay, you are requesting here to run this function, and this function is responding. Again, it's like a request and response methodology. Okay. And it is more again look like that you are a client. This is more like a services, more like an app. But it's not a big app, contain lots of functionalities, 1 and 2 and 3. This app is containing a one single functionality, whatever we did in the function. So maybe right now, it's not important right now to write, but maybe we can say this is like a small functionality, more like a microservice, small service doing something for you. But again, my class is more not about the microservices. We'll do something else today. Okay, this is what we want to achieve. But again, now because these are two different computers, how they communicate, we need a protocol. Again, we will have HTTP protocol here. Okay, but in this case, the function you're calling, their by default behavior, because this is how they created, is they always respond. They always give the data, and because they give the data, they have to read it. So technically, in another way, it means because you know what function you're going to call. So you know while requesting, you have to request for the get. Because I told you guys, get is more like a read. When you read, you want some response come to, in this case, answer 7. So this is the function behavior. This function always give the output. So obviously this function, whoever called this should know what kind of behavior they are. Accordingly, they have to call. So technically, the client, when they call this function, the client should be very clear, and I would like to call via HTTP protocol. Okay, but my request method is get method. This will be very clear. Okay, this should be at the client side. Now, how the client call? There's a lot of tool available in the market. They use Chrome browser, they use curl command, they use lots more tools, Postman or much more tool available. That would be their way to request. Okay, but important point here is, okay, if you ask this function the way I created here, ask this function, do you know if somebody call you, can you run? Yes. Can you give the output? Yes, because we have written here, so I can give the output. I can give the response. But do you know how to respond over the HTTP protocol? Okay. Do you understand, you as a function, do you understand HTTP protocol? Do you understand what is get method is? Do you understand this? Okay. Do you know how to send the response over the network packet in HTTP protocol? Do you know how to send the packet? This function says, no, I don't know this. I know only one thing is somebody, if they call me, I can give the output. And normally I can give the output in the same system memory, RAM. That's all. And if you know a little bit about memory, this is called stack memory. I know how to give the output in stack memory. If you know, otherwise there's no requirement. Okay, but I don't know anything about the network device. I don't know how to send to the network devices, respond to the network devices packet, my output. Okay, for this, what we have to do? Okay, for this, we ask my developer, do one thing in this function, add lots of new code for network programming, so that whatever they are going to return, they don't return on the memory, on the RAM, same computer. With help of network programming, they can return over the network to other computers, to the client. But again, this will be an extra burden for the developer. Okay, so here the role of framework come in play. So rather than we developer create this code again from the scratch to send the output of the function over the network, what a developer can do, developer can use pre-created libraries. Okay, where they will do this functionality for you. They will add those pre-created libraries, maybe known as a kind of packages. So the developer don't have to create everything from the scratch, and they attach this functionality to these functions. Okay, and that is a reason why we are going to use, one of the reason I can say, we're going to use Quarkus. Quarkus is one library. They give this kind of facilities. So without creating things from the scratch, okay, very quickly we can tell this function, now you don't worry, I'm going to add one extra functionality on you. Not functionality, you are the function already, but I'm going to add one feature on you, a capability on you. Okay, and what capability I'm going to add? We are going to add with the help of Quarkus, but in the function LWSUM, or it can be any function. Okay, whatever you have, that will be your plan, your algorithm, means you want to sum 2 plus 7, that is your algorithm, your plan. But in this, I'm going to add one extra capabilities. Okay, which capability? We can have hundreds and thousands of capability, but one of the capability would be, now you know how to send data over HTTP response over the GET method. Means if somebody come to as a GET, then you can respond over the HTTP. This capability I'm going to add very quickly. You don't have to create from the scratch. Okay, and guys, mostly in the programming languages, okay, if you want to add any extra functionality on the function from the outside world, like Quarkus is outside of this function, we normally add with a concept called annotation. So annotation is a concept through which we can add any capability on any function very quickly. You don't have to delve inside the function. So annotation is a one concept. I'll show you how to use it. Very, very easy it is to use. Okay. Capability is just a concept. But if you want to apply any capability on the function, the capability would be, I want function can give the output outside world or the network HTTP protocol. Then we have to use annotation. So mostly all the programming language has their own way of creating the annotation. But in Java, it is known as annotation. This concept is known as annotation. How do you write it? I'll show you in a minute. Okay, this is one thing. So what I'm going to do right now, at least let's create this code till here. Then I add some more functionality in it. By chance, your Maven has created one project with some kind of demo example here. That's what Maven created for you to make the things very quick, new, so you guys can understand very quickly. So let me do one thing. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me delete this entire code till here. Okay, this is Java code. Maybe you guys might don't know Java much. Don't worry, even though I share the code to you already, Java classes. Okay, but let me use this code. Package means this is a folder. I'm creating my entire code in this same folder. That's what is written here. Okay, I'm going to create a class. It's a public class. Okay, with the same name, whatever file name you have, LW hello app. This is a code I'm going to create. In this code, I'm going to create a function. Again, LW function, the way I explained to you. And what this function will do, they will return, let's say, 5 plus 2. Because they're going to return 5 plus 2 is an integer. So I am a function return type, output type would be integer. The function created. Now, who called this function? I explained to you the function is either called by main function. So here I can also create one more function called main, and main can call this function. Okay, call this function. For this, you have to write a normal main function in the Java like this, and we write some more keyword. If you know Java, public static void. This is how we create normal. Okay, so this is one of the approaches that we use in the programming world. Same system, same program, function is getting here, other function is calling it. So there I'm going to run the same RAM. There's no networking. There's no way to call the function outside the world. Okay, that's what, if you know a little bit Java, that you can create. And by the main function is static, so I will make this function also static. Why it is not important to know right now. Okay, static we have to start with. Okay, so this is a very basic code. Okay, and did we very quickly check how the thing is working fine or not? I'm just quickly check this to check my quick syntax and to give you the context actually. Of course, I'm going to print the output of this function. So main function is going to call this function, and while the function give you output, we are going to print on the screen, on the same system screen. Let's save this code. When I run, all right, they will compile and run code for you. And what you will see, okay, you will see in a minute that output, this function has been called by other function on same system, the same RAM, on the same RAM screen, they will get the output. But in this example, we have no way to call this function from outside the world over the network by other services, by other computers. Okay, but this is one of the way. I don't want this way. I don't want to call the function locally. In this case, I don't want this main function to be used. So let me comment this lines. I don't want this way. Okay, I want to call this function in other way, remotely from other computer, something like this. Okay, for this, what we have to do? Okay, for this, we have to take the help of Quarkus. Okay, Quarkus give this functionality very quickly. How? If you tell one simple thing to the function, now you are the function. I didn't need static here. Static we use because I call from main. You are the function. Okay. In this function, we are going to add one functionality, one facility. What facility is? I'm going to write a comment here. Where is now this u function? Now we can call u from network. Okay. From other computer, that is mostly client or maybe other services. How? By HTTP protocol. But we know your algo is 5 plus 2 is 7, and you are going to return something. We're going to print something or give the output. Means whoever call you, they have to read. Okay, so they will come to you with a method called or work called get. That we know this. Okay, so I'm going to add one functionality on you, one capability on you. That's what I was talking about. I'm going to add one capability on you. Okay, which capability? This capability. How? With the concept called annotation. And how we write annotation? Now this here the role of Quarkus come into play. Till here, this is the responsibility of the developers. Okay, now from here, after the code has been created, now the responsibility of Quarkus guys come in play. Whichever function they want to that's also known as expose. Whichever function you want to expose to outside world. Expose to expose normally means outside only, outside world. Okay, then here we write an annotation. Okay, and guys, in Java and most of the programming language, whenever you want to write the annotation, okay, you write the annotation on the top of the function. For example, I might have more functions. For example, my function name is, let's say hi, function name. And whenever you use this function, they will say hi Linux world, for example. So this function, when somebody call, they return always hi Linux world. Hi Linux is string by chance. So the written type of this function is string. Okay. So which function you want to expose? You want to kind of outside world. This one or that one. So if you want this function to be exposed to outside world, so on the top of this function only, we can add the capability. That's called annotation. How? We use @ symbol. After @ guys, all the annotation what is supported in this system right now come up. There are lots of annotations we have. But right now, we are looking for the annotation known as get. That's what. Done. That's all. That is what we have to do. Okay. So this is the annotation we have to use. What this annotation means, the things that I explained to you already. Now this function has a capability to call from the outside world. Okay, outside world. This is one thing. But this annotation, guys, annotation is again one kind of facility. Means if you talk about get @ then get. Okay, get here. So it means somebody has created these capabilities. It's not like we just say, let's say like keyword, we write here. But this keyword has been created behind this, a lot of code has been created. Somebody's created for us. And this code they put in one package. Okay. So if you want to use this code, we have to load this package. Then only we can use get. Okay. And how to load the package? We use import keyword. Import keyword. So this get is one kind of code, and those who know a little bit about Java, code normally we put inside the class file. So we are calling this class file, and this class file is inside this package. Okay. So normally because you're using ID automatically write this line. Okay. But if you write the code without ID, you have to type it manually. But if you don't write this line, comment it. Okay, you can see error gonna come up. They don't understand. So when you write get, automatic ID like IntelliJ will automatically load for you. Don't have to worry about it. It means somebody has created this class file or code, and put in this folder called package. We have to load it so we can use this code directly. Okay, this is one thing. So get has been automatically loaded. But always make sure, guys, if you load, it don't work, just check here, it is there, not load, import or not. Most of your IDE automatically import for you. Okay, this is one point. Now this function has a capability to call outside world. Now one more thing we have to add. Okay, one more thing you have to add. If you are calling this function, let me very quickly create one more diagram. If you're calling this function LWSum, okay, we're calling this function. Now function is going to respond you. Okay, now one more thing, guys, this function is going to respond you only if when you call with the get method, because this function only support get functionality or get method. Okay, so if the client use get method, only then this function will call. There's one point. But function will respond you because you're asking for get means you're asking to read something. A function is going to respond something to you. And what are they going to respond? In this case, by chance number 7. They're going to respond 7. Okay. So, so in this case, your function is going to respond, but they're going to respond 7. How means this 7 is data. Okay. So what is the type of this data? Okay. Type means I'm not talking about data type. You guys know I'm not talking about data type. Means this data, when they go over the network, reach to you, so it will come you as it is. That's called plain text. They come as it is as a plain text. This is how you want to respond. Okay. Or do you want to respond this information in different type? So guys, a lot of type available in the market. That one is called JSON type or XML type. What are those? We'll see in some time. Okay, we'll talk about this point. But the plain text is very, very logical. Let me use this. So point is, if you are this function is going to respond, let's say 7. So how will you respond 7? In which type? Okay, which type? Or this text will go in which type? This is normally known as media type. So what will be media type here? So you have to write here in the function that you have to respond, or I can say there's one more word I can use, produce. Okay, this text into a media type. This is called type. That is called plain text or text plain, whatever you write here. Okay, in some cases we want to use JSON. What are those? We'll see. Okay, otherwise they don't know how to respond. So here we have to write one more facility here. So we have to write one more facility that is called annotation. That's called produce. Okay, produce. Okay, so in the produce, guys, P is capital, by Java is case sensitive, so we use this produce. Understand one thing, that there are two produce here, this and this. There are two produce. Okay, what different, guys? This is very important to know. Maybe I keep on talking about this point. Okay, so this is also produce in one capabilities or one annotation. This is also one more annotation, same name. But this produce come in different packages. This produce come in different packages. Some other developer develop this. Some other developer develop this. By chance, name is same, but their internal functionality is different. It's something like this. I create hello function. You also create hello function, but your function, my function will behave differently. So there's other community create produce function. This is other community. Or package create produce function means for produce class means produce annotation. Which one to use? Okay. So right now, guys, because we are learning, the core we are learning is REST API. That's what we slowly understand. REST API. It's just a concept name. Okay. To implement this concept, okay, we are using Quarkus as a framework. But Quarkus is not only meant for REST API. This framework doing lots of things. Okay. One of the things they're giving you REST API. Some other things they might work in security. Some might think they work on some design plan. Some other things they might do integration with Docker and Kubernetes and cloud. Okay. To implement the REST API concepts, because it's just a concept only. Okay. Quarkus use one library, or I can use one more term called package of the Java. Okay. And that package is known as REST-EZ. REST-EZ package. It's just a package name. Okay, or library name. Okay. So my point here is Quarkus behind the scene using, okay, Quarkus big name. It's just a name. You can think Quarkus like an operating system. Operating system multiple softwares. Similarly, Quarkus like a big framework, contain multiple independent packages. Every package will have different responsibility. Okay. So Quarkus is using behind the scene that we can change also if you want, but by default, they're using REST API. So REST-EZ package name. By this package, we can implement REST API concepts. Okay. And here, the REST API is again product name, and the package behind the REST-EZ is this one, the first one, RS. Okay. It is a JavaX Enterprise Inject is a different thing if you don't need this. So it means a simple term. In the simple term, very quickly, if I also show you this search also, Quarkus REST-EZ. Okay, so REST-EZ is if I write open here, REST-EZ is a way to implement something in the Quarkus. What? Just REST. Okay. Again, what is just REST is again one kind of specification. Just REST, REST. I'll talk a little bit about it. I don't want to discuss right now. Okay, but this line normally says in the Quarkus, if you want to implement a REST API, then you need REST-EZ package. Okay, that's what they're talking about. That's all. Nothing too much see here. Okay, so and that's it. And REST-EZ is just a name of the product, but this product give you a package that contain code is with this name, and that's what they have done in the get also, right? But my simple term, guys, here is if you want to do anything with the REST API, so you always load JX WS RS package name. Possibly the two names will come up there, right? But if you use the wrong, you think you get this functionality or annotation, but thing won't work for you. Okay, this very happen initially for the initial developers. Okay, now like produce, we have two things. Which one to call? This one, JS WS RS. Okay, otherwise as we progress, I'll talk more about this point. So produce is one annotation. What it will do, I explained to you already what it will do. So whenever this function produce, so produce one annotation, they take some input, and here they say my media type. I can see there's a two media type here. This also. But you take the first one that has jx.ws.rs. So my media type dot is plain text. So there is lots of type of output you can print. Maybe you can print in XML format, JSON format, but I would have to print in right now in the plain text, but we'll see more about other way to print my text. Okay, or the output maybe. I want to use plain text right now. Okay, so in one function, you can add a lot of functionalities. That's called by the help of annotation. Get, I explained to you, produce, when this function give the output will go in the plain text to the customer, not in other format. Why we need other format, we'll see. But you should specify here. Okay. One more last thing we have to add here. Is, okay, whenever guys you between client and server, okay, this is the server and this is the client. Whenever you reach to server and to connect, minimum requirement is you need the IP address. And server, when you run the program, you always connect to program or the process. In networking world, a process, you need a port number. Okay. So if you kind of want to connect, maybe they will kind of via STP protocol. But if you don't have the IP address and the port number, it won't connect, right? In my case, my program right now, what I'm going to run here is going to run in my top of Windows. So I know the IP address from Windows. I open my terminal and I can find out IP config. I can know my IP. I can give to my other system. They can connect. It's 1.12 in the last. So IP of my system is 192.168.1.12. Okay. But this process that I'm going to run, I need a port number. With a port number, how can I connect outside the world? So this port number, guys, is been, again, not a duty of your code. So this is your entire program file. Okay. So you don't need to write some extra code that will give this program or this program process a port number. Okay. So here the role of, again, Quarkus come in play. That's what I explained in my last class also. Because this product, or this, I can say, this particular project that contains a lot of code is going to run by Quarkus. So Quarkus auto-generate one port for you. Okay, maybe let's say the port may be 8080, for example, or maybe some other number also we can change. How we'll see. So Quarkus will generate this port. And if you guys remember in my last class, I talked about API gateway. So that's what Quarkus will create. But what is API gateway, we'll see more in upcoming classes. But there's again responsibility of the Quarkus. So when we run this course, or sorry, when we run this project, Quarkus will generate this port. So my client can connect to this IP address and this port number. Okay, and then they can connect to your program or the process. So this is not the very headache part. We will do it very quickly. Even though when you create a project, they will give a README file. Okay, here they give you how to run this application or this project. So they give this command. This command is going to run the Quarkus. Okay, what is dev and compile we might discuss, but Quarkus. And now this is the responsibility of the Quarkus to do the things. Okay, so how to run this program? We can type this command, or maybe there's one button here. When I click, okay, you will see this command automate type here, and they're going to run this project. So if you guys see here, they're scanning the project. And now we're asking Quarkus to run this project. Okay, so those who know, if you want to run the Java code, we first compile. After compile, we run it. How we run? We run with what I say, Java command, runtime command. But here, if you run the Java command, they run locally. So instead, we run the Java command directly. This is called runtime command. We're asking Quarkus to run this project. So Quarkus will run the Java code only with Java command, but they add some extra functionality. What functionality they add? They create this port number and a lot more things they do. What is called API gateway. What are these? We'll see in the future classes. So if you see here, this project started, and if you go a little bit up, you can see Quarkus has started this project. There was a project name we given on the top of your system JVM, means Java. Okay, and they started project in the localhost, means your own current IP address, and on port number 8080. Okay, that's what they started. It means this part is done. This part is done. Okay. It means any client who has connected over the networking, they can connect to me. How? Because you guys know here we have to communicate with HTTP. So normally client of HTTP is mostly your browsers. Okay. So this URL I can copy from here. And I can use the browser from other computer, maybe same computer for testing purpose. Okay. And I can type here this particular URL. Enter. I can see Quarkus started. And Quarkus say your conversation, your thing is working fine. Your application with this project name has been started and this folder group ID is started. There is no issue. This is one of our initial home page of the Quarkus. This is not your final code, but this is my home page of the Quarkus. They show you everything is working good till now. Okay. The only thing what I am looking for, it is not here. Okay. What I'm looking for, my plan is to not, see this welcome page kind of thing from the Quarkus. Maybe it is good to see right now, to see that everything is working great. But my plan is something else. My plan is to only call this function. My plan is to call this function. Okay. Now here's one big challenge we have here, even though what I'm talking about, I'll tell you in a minute. But before I go ahead, I just want to show you something. Maybe if you go a little bit up. Okay. If you see there's some arrays coming up, some kind of warning Quarkus shows that this function guy is also known as method in the Java, is not public. Okay. It means if somebody want to call this thing from outside the world, they won't call. But anything that is not public means it's like a security in Java. So anyone who knows Java, public is a keyword like security. If you don't write public here, then nobody can use this function outside this world. It's been logged. It's like access control. If you want this, you can use by outside world. This is one keyword you have to write. It's from the Java. It's called access modifier or access control. This is also one we have to write here. So let me do one thing. Let me Control C to close this program. And again, let me run this. Okay, now this error does not come up. But this is not the main thing I'm looking for. Now that warning goes. What I'm looking for here is this is one big program. Okay. This program might contain multi-function. This is very common thing. For example, this hello function is function. This also function. Let me do the same thing here. I also want to expose this get method. I also want this will produce. Okay. The output in a media type called text plain. Okay. Now, let me make it this part also public, so we can use this outside world. Okay. Let me again do Control C here to again start. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to explain this very important concept. Okay. If you look at this particular code, this is one big program file. Okay. One big program file named this one, program file. And this program file contains multiple functions. This is one of the function, this is other function. Okay. But what I want, every function has a different functionality. And according to the plan, I want to call any function whenever I want. How? From my client system. So they sit in this laptop. Okay. So they call this function whatever function they want to call. But how they know, how they can call? What I mean by this, for example, I told you there are two ways to call the function. One way is in the main function of your code. Okay. If you want to call this function, we can type this name. So main can call this function. But if you want to call this function, so in the main, in the local system, we can type this name, say hi. This function we call. So calling this function locally is very simple. We can give the name. By giving the name, we can call. But if you want to call the function for other computer, my other computer is a different computer running somewhere on the internet. Okay. They don't know anything about the function name. They don't know your function name. Even though they don't know your program name also. The function name is like a code part. Code is normally come with a compile format, byte code or compiled code. Nobody can go inside the code and see it. And code normally runs on the server. I can go to Facebook and see and check the function name, what they use. Function name is not given to anyone outside the world. Okay, that is called client or the users. It is only for the developers. Okay, they don't know anything about the function name. Okay, so if they don't know, my client does not know what the function name LW sum, function name is say hi, even though they don't know program file name also, they don't know folder name also. They don't know anything about the code, anything. And then how they can call? You're calling for the main function because a part of my code only, we can give the function name, we can call it. But here the plan is we're going to call from the client side, how we can call. Okay, so client can do only one thing. Okay, and that is the only facility we can give to the client is the URL. We only give the client a URL. And what a client they can do with the URL, that's what the client can do. So what can we do? We can do this kind of idea. Okay, our intention is client. We want to give a facility. The client will have a choice. Whichever function they want to call, they can call. Okay, how we can give this facility to client? With the help of URL. So how URL look like this? I can say client, if you want to come to us, it will come via HTTP protocol. This is what thing we support. Then you to come to our IP address. Then you come to our respective port number, whatever port number we are working on. After the port number, okay, then type here something. Okay, mostly guys in the URL, what you type here is a page name or the folder name mostly or directory name. But here, this is not the page name now onwards. This is not the folder name now onward. What do you type afterward? It is one kind of key, you can say. Okay. One kind of key. Key means, let's say, if you type here, let's say LW1, you type here in this URL. And obviously, when you type the URL, if you hit enter, this entire URL come to us. This is your world, client side. And this is our world, server side. Okay. So guys, whenever client type any URL, just for your knowledge, whatever the type in the URL, the entire information, what they type in their browser, go to server always. So whatever you type in the URL, for example, if you type in Google, you only type google.com. They know you don't type www.google.com. They have this idea. Okay. For example, I'm searching Linux. But since they come here, but what to type here, I'm changing something here. I'm changing, let's say, Red Hat. So this is the URL, right? Whatever you type in the URL, exactly same from starting till end. Even though if you don't type www also, Google know you does not type www at this point in time. This entire information go to Google, or I can do your server. I mean, whatever type in your address bar at the client side, let's go URL. It's the entire URL as it is go to your server. How? Inside the HTTP packet. This data will go inside the network packet. And this network packet is actually built by an idea called HTTP protocol. So HTTP packet has one header. In the header, they goes. We'll talk more about header in my upcoming discussion. But they go to the server as it is. It means if the client type this URL and type here LW1, it goes to server. Okay. If the client type LW2, that goes to server as it is. Now what server can do? Okay. Server can do something like this. Server can do something like this. So I can say developer can do something like this. What they can do, they say if somebody type LW1, Okay. So what can we do? We can map LW1 to this function. Map means if somebody type LW1, then we'll run this function. If somebody type LW2, then we'll run this function. Okay. It means whatever key they type, okay, they will run, we will run different functions on it. Okay, that EJ region, this key is not known as key actually. This key is known as route. Sometimes also known as path. But you know the route. So if somebody type route LW1, we'll call this function. So type route LW2, we call this function. Again, it's not decided by client. We decide and we give to client. So what we'll decide? We will decide our route name LW1. We decide our route name LW2. Or mapping name LW2. And this information we give to the client. And again, understand one thing, URL is given by the server to the client. Client never decides the URL. Google gave the URL to us. So this URL we give the client. And I say, this is my IP, this is protocol, HTTP, not HTTP, this is port number, and this is my route name. So if you want to call LW some function, use the route name or the path name LW1. You want to use CHI function, then use the route called LW2 route. So we decide this. Again, for this, a lot of code developer has to create. Okay, has to create for this because it's not simple. The client sends the URL, the data will go to, has to be header. You have to retrieve it, then do some checking for else. So a lot of code you have to build. But again, we don't have to build this code again from the scratch. We have some annotation available. And what can we do? We can use those annotation here. Okay, how? Maybe here. @ path annotation. Okay. Path annotation. And in the path annotation, we can write the path is LW1. Okay. And here we can write one more path. Path route is same thing, no difference. LW2. Or give a better name. Okay. Maybe I can give the path sum because they are doing sum here. Or maybe LW2 sum. And here we can give the path, let's say hi. Or we say hi, something like this. Okay. And because this name what you give here, we add in the URL, and URL normally we write something like this /LW /hi/sum. So normally we give the path and normally pathway, slash. That's what we normally write. Okay. Like this is very not simple thing, right? A simple thing. If you don't have this annotation pre-given from the Quarkus library, from one of the package of the Quarkus is this one. Again, one thing guys, this package you can run without Quarkus also. If you want to use this package without Quarkus also, you can use normally in Java code. Okay, but what is Quarkus? Is framework. They give you lots of things connect together. But this is one of the things they give you. So the question is, does this come from Quarkus only? No. Can we use without the Quarkus this concept what I'm discussing right now? Yes. But in microservice, lots more things we need. Okay. And everything we need given by the Quarkus. What are those? We'll see in the future. But right now I'm just building the concept for REST APIs. Okay. So this is known as, guys, what I'm writing here, /sum is known as route, also sometimes known as path, and sometimes, and better name is known as endpoint. Endpoint is normally the entire URL is called endpoint. So in this case, the URL will be HTTP / IP address port /sum. Okay. Anybody who typed this URL, that is also technically known as endpoint. So we don't use the word end URL, mostly use the word endpoint. If somebody type this endpoint or this URL, it means they come to this OS, the Quarkus port. If asking the Quarkus, wherever this path is, and wherever this path is mapped to the function, we're asking this function to run. We don't need a main function here. We're asking this not without main function. We're asking this function run, and whatever this function give the output, they will produce this output in the plain text they give back to me. Okay, but one more thing, when you come to this URL or endpoint, your requested method would be get only. And guys, by the way, whatever you type in your browser, they always have the get method. Okay, your browser, whatever you type in the browser, especially in the browser. For example, you type here Red Hat, or maybe you type here, let's say Wimble. Okay, so whatever you type in the URL, by default, your browser always send the get method. How to send other method, we'll discuss. This is the by default behavior of your browser. However, normally guys in the browser, if you do the right click, you can go to inspect. Okay, and inspect, guys, there's one called developer tool they open. There's an option called network. Okay, and if you again refresh, enter, okay, a lot of information gonna come up. And if you try to read any of the things, for example, search. Okay, here you can see request methods get. So if you send any URL, type any URL in the browser, I'm talking browser address bar. The by default behavior of the browser is they automatically add request method. Okay, or call HTTP grammar word called get only. So you don't need to add anything else. They will automatically do for you. Okay, but if you go to other method to use, how to use those methods, we'll discuss. But your browser, what you type URL, they always by default send. So client browsers, they always send when you type the URL, especially in the address bar. They by default use method get only. But you want to use other method, post other things, we will see how to do that, how to work on it. Okay. So guys, now this code is almost kind of complete. So again, say, what are these? These are annotations of pre-created classes of code by somebody else. Who created? These guys created, we imported it. Okay. Now your developers will create the entire functions, algorithms. And if you want, not always, if you want these functions to be exposed, then we give the expose path. How to expose, get method. How to send the data in plain text. Those annotations you can write. Okay, save. So that's what we have done here. Now again, let me go to my radio file. Let me run this code again. What this code is doing, by the meantime, let me explain to you what this command is doing. Okay, so guys, whenever you have a Java code, it's called source code. Okay, source code, it always, before you want to use the source code, it always compile it. Then it becomes the executable code. In the Java, it's called bytecode by chance, but bytecode code is more like an executable code that we normally run. After compile, we have to run it, execute it. Okay, so that's what Maven will do. So this is one of the Maven command. So Maven guys, command guys, either you can MVN or you can use MVNW. W has some extra functionality. We'll see in the future when we need it. But this right now there's almost same thing. So Maven has a capability to compile a code with the compile keyword. Okay, and same time they can also run for you. Okay, but here for running, we are asking who run for us? Quarkus. Because to running the Java code, for compiling the Java code, we need JavaC command behind the scene. JavaC is one command Java that will help us to compile the code. And to run the code, we need Java command. They will run the code. And guys, by chance, if you might know, Java command, Java program, they always run on the top of JVM, virtual machine of Java. Okay. So Maven behind the scene, compile the code by calling internal JavaC command. Same time, we're giving Quarkus option here, means we're asking Quarkus, your duty is to call the Java command, run the Java code on the JVM, plus what extra capability you want to add. You want to add API gateway or add port number, something like this. Okay. So add over here. So this kind of command. What is colon-dev option? We'll see in some minute. What is dev option would be? We'll see in some minute. So there's a quick information about this. So now if you see, guys, there's some error coming up because I run this project 2 times, and you guys might know something. In one computer, if a TT port is assigned, you can't assign this port to other program. Why this error is coming up? Because I run this program 2 times. So I have one more program running here. Let me stop this. Okay. And let me again run. And let me also stop this. Okay. So we won't need not 2 terminals. So here, let me run this code again. So one command, they compile all the code. Right now we have one single file, but we have more file also. They compile all the code and run the code. And with the help of Quarkus give the REST API gateway. What are those? We'll see. Okay. So again, your program will start, but this time you will see some extra benefit. Again, same URL, no difference. Same URL, whatever you see here. No difference. Okay. It's exactly the same. But there's a Quarkus kind of homepage that we can change if you want. But okay, what extra you will see here? Okay, everything same. But now here, what you will see extra? Now here we can add one extra URL. Which URL? Let's say hi. What is URL? What I write in my code? Hi. We can add path here. Enter. Okay. Here you can see some output resource not found. What are these output fields? Let me tell you. But let me use this /sum. /sum. Again, same output. Okay. So why this output is coming? Why is the error is coming? Okay. There's one small reason for this. Okay. The reason is that this is your entire program file. Okay. An entire program file. Let me see till here. And this is your entire program file. Okay. This file name is hello LW app. And guys, in Java, what a file name you give? Same name you give to class. Okay. And when you compile this code, this is a code, it will create one binary file, one executable file with the same name, Linux World Hello App. This becomes a file in binary. In the Java world, it's called class. The same thing. We run this. But in this binary or in this class file or in this executable file, we have 2 functions. Okay. One function name is LWSum, one function is say hi. One is called LWSum, one which we have say hi. Okay. But we might have one more file, source code. We might have some more source code here. Let's say source code maybe admin app, for example. Admin app. So we have one more source code. Okay. So let's say the source code is called admin app or admin program file or admin class, same thing. Okay. This is also one more file we can add here. It's very common in the projects. Okay. And again, they have multiple functions. Their function may be send SMS function, for example. Or they might also have one more function, or by chance name is say hi again. Right. So understand one thing, guys. This is different. This is different program file. Number 1, this is a different program file. Number 2. Okay. These have hundreds of functions, this is 100 functions, maybe some name may be same, right? It's possible. They also want to do some say hi with different code. They have say hi might have different code. Possible, right? Okay. But if you want to expose this function also, and for expose this function, let's say I write URL equal hi. You want to expose this function, maybe by chance you also write less hi here. Your endpoint or path or route. Okay. So finally, in one single big project, multiple files we have is very common. If I have multiple functions, very common, and the possibility that but some of the function name is very same again, and possibility the path is also same. It's called mapping. Possibility, right? Okay. So how we can differentiate? So normally in the programming world, we differentiate the function name by the program file name. So I can say this function name is what? LW hello app dot say hi. This is what we differentiate this function. Same way how we differentiate function. Admin app dot slash say hi is a different name. Function name is different. So same by program name is different. Program file is different. That was it. We'll differentiate. Okay. So my point here is in one program file, we can create multiple function, but other program file is always different, guys. We can't create two program files with the same name. But other program file, okay, maybe here this may be admin app, different name. They might have contains some function with the same name, maybe same code or same functionality or different functionality. The functionality does not matter. Okay. So in the programming world, this is this is how we manage the things, right? Different program file, same function, maybe. Similarly, in the URL world or the route world, okay, if I give this function slash hi, if I give this function slash hi, okay, but to differentiate is always good practice and we have to do it. We have to give a program file also some path. This path may be slash Linux world. This path may be slash admin. Okay, every program file that is equals to class name, let's say they are same, we would also give a path to uniquely identify the program file. It means if you want to reach to this function, then final path would be slash Linux world slash hi. Why this one? Because then this is the name of my program file or my class. Why this one? Because inside this class, we have this function. This is the complete path or complete route or complete endpoint. If somebody want to call this hi, then this function is a part of this particular program file, then and the complete path or absolute path is slash admin slash hi. This is the endpoint of this function. This is a path of this function. Okay, that was where the issue was coming on. So if I write slash sum or slash hi, they feel this is the name of some of class or the path of some of the class. The class does not have any path by chance here. So this class means is like a file name. So this program file name you also need to give a path actually. P is capital here. Unless I'm giving the path here, maybe slash Linux world. That's what. Okay. So this program file has one class only. Mostly guys in Java, every program file has only one class with public. Public means you can call to outside world. We can't have two classes in one file in Java world with public. Okay. But this program file has one class. I can say this is a one program file. Same thing. Anyone want to reach to this class, they have to call to this path. Slash LW is equals to this program file. And slash LW slash sum means they will reach here. Slash LW slash hi, they will call this function. Okay, this is how it works. This is how we should give this. Okay, so let's run this and we'll see some more thing. Okay, so My project is running here. Okay, run, and maybe we can run by readme again. Actually, it was already running. So Control C, to exit, yes, it is all running here. Control C, clear, and right. So let's see, guys. After the compile, the run. Okay. Now, if you run this is the Quarkus. Now Quarkus will tell us that here we have our path called LW. Then you can see some difference, right? Very interesting. Even though there's resource not found, because there's some more thing we can do here. But what can you see? This is what we have planned, right? Okay. It means they say if you only reach to LW, they don't have any code. We don't have anything here. Because in the class, we also create one constructors. We don't have constructors here. One of those we might discuss. But it is very clear. Now, if some client reach to LW, this contain two functions. Now, what a function name, you are the client, you don't worry about it. But to call to these functions, both the functions support get method only. See, get and get. And to reach to first function, you have to use this. Or you used to say hi. Means this is the path you have to use. Okay. And if you want to call this function, you have to use get method, but they will produce plain text. Plain text. Okay. It means if I call LW hi, the path will be LW. You can see the output gonna come, right? Interesting. So guys, here from outside world, we are capable enough to call one particular function. Okay, and think, guys, this is, if we talk about the client thing, they are communicating to the app. Okay, but internally they are actually calling one particular function. So without going to code, without using the main function, okay, my client can able to run this particular functionalities, this functionality. For example, they want to run some function, so they can call some, see output gonna come. Okay, so this is what the guy's motto is, right? So my point here is, from the client, okay, we give a different URL or the endpoints. These are the endpoints. And any client who run this endpoint, okay, so what happened? Very quickly, if I revise and add one more point here. If any client anywhere in the world who have the network access, right, this URL means, let's say this IP address. They reach to this IP address, this computer. They connect to this program on port number 8080 that has been actually run by Quarkus. And we are asking Quarkus as a program, Quarkus, you are the one who run my app, my service, or this app may have some small functionality. So it's called microservice maybe. Okay, so can you help me to reach here? So can you take me to LW? What LW is one of my program name, program file. It's also known as class name. Can you take me to this class? Okay, can you take me to this class? And inside this class, there's a lot of functions. Okay, can you please help me to reach to this function inside this? Okay, and after reach this, now you are the Quarkus. Now on my behalf, I'm the client. Okay, I'm giving this information to you. I'm giving this information to you by requesting this URL in my browser. I'm giving this information to you. Now on my behalf, you will go and run this function. Which of function has been associated with this URL or this path? Run it. So technically we're running one function. It is what the planning was, right? Okay. So please go and run this function. Okay. And function, what are the output give us? So what output they give you? Take this output and give to me. Return to me. In which format? In plain text. And that's what you can see here, the plain text output gonna come up. Okay. Even though, because I typing this URL in my browser, this by default behavior of the browser, they always send the output in the get method only. You don't have to tell, this is by default nature. We can change also by some other tool, but this is what they do. How I know? Okay. If I right click, open the inspect program in your browser, let's go developer tool. Okay. If I go to network, nothing is there, but if I refresh one more time, some information is going to come up. And what you see here, okay, you call this path sum, that we can see here sum come up. Okay, 200 means you request to server and server has this data. So you get the status message 200. So guys, when you get the 200 status message, it means you're successfully connected. But the important part is this one. When I click here, this is what we can get here. Okay, you requested this URL with the get. Okay, they respond you with the sensor 7. Okay, and plus one more thing you can see here, they respond you with the content type plain old. So when a server responds you, browser will give you the output, but until browser will get this information. The response method, what they respond in this plain text. This is very important. Why? Right now, browser give this output, but this output we have to consume in other services. Right now, I'm a client, but this app what I created here, let's say microservice. I want to consume this information and the other microservices. If you don't know about your type of data, okay, you won't be able to consume it properly. By chance, they give you a response. On your app, give the response. They respond you the data in the plain text. So this is what your server give to the client. Why plain text? Because that's what we write in my code. I need plain text only. Okay. So guys, I'm trying to explain this concept in all angle. I don't know which field you are from. Okay, from developer field, from microservices, from admin field, from DevOps container field. Why is it important? Because in the container world or the cloud world, this is your responsibility to map. Okay, so anybody who know load balancer in the cloud, okay, there's a concept called ingress load balancer. There's a concept called application load balancers. Okay, in the containers also we have this. There's a lot of ingress services we have, a path-based policy we have, routing-based policies we have. Okay, so if you don't know this concept, you can't map your program. Neither your normal app, neither your microservices. We'll talk more about this in this training, guys. I'll show you the demo of how to integrate this guys with Docker and Kubernetes. So whichever field you guys are in, does not matter. Okay, I'll try. I'm taking this program in such a way that any of the field you guys belongs to, okay, you can use that respective concepts in your respective domain and technologies. Okay, so that's one point. Okay, so now do one more thing, some more thing here. So this is what guys I explain you as a concept with respect to annotation here. Over here. Okay, let's say I want to change my my produce type. What I mean by this? So before this, let me explain one small concept. Okay, what happened normally? Okay, if you are the app, and we have a client, mostly the browser-based client. A client may be like command line client. For example, this can be run by curl command. Curl. Same output gonna come here. Okay. And that is the reason, guys, you know why? That is the reason this URL, what we're doing, we are the client, we're asking to go to this system and asking to run this program. Okay, run this app. So this URL is giving me an interface through which any application running in this program, we can run it. That's called APIs. Why API? Because behind this, in this URL, there's some app is running. Every app has their own responsibility. This app is doing something for us, 5 plus 2, 7. Right, the 5 plus 2 is fixed, but we can give the input also. How to give the input, we'll see. Okay. So this is, guys, this is called APIs. So this API has a one different responsibility. They always run 5 plus 2, give the answer. Some API will send the SMS, some will send the email, somebody send the post of Facebook, somebody will retrieve the tweet of the tutors, and a lot more APIs we have. Every API will do something for us. So this API, we call with this URL, have one functionality, one program to run, is they give the output 5 plus 2, 7. Okay. So now onward, guys, we can also use the word this. This is the API we created. And very quickly, guys, we created this API, right? With the help of Quarkus or REST APIs, library. Okay. So does Quarkus create this API? No. Quarkus gives a lot of functionality together. This API is created by a library called REST Easy. And this is a library who gives this lots of packages and the modules or the classes. So this is the library who created for you. Okay. Yeah, all the library given by Quarkus together, but REST Easy is the one who created for us. Okay. Now, based on this information, let's come here. If a client is your normal CLI web browser, let's say browser, like Chrome browser, Chrome in my case. Okay. When you connect it to your API or your application, they give the answer. Mostly, whatever they respond to you, mostly we want this output to be in a plain text only, because we would like to see the output in plain text only. Okay, plain text. This is plain text. Okay, and by the way, guys, if you see the curl command, and the help of a curl command, okay, here in the curl command, they don't give option in detail. Then use help option, maybe help all, because curl is very big, lots of options they support. But there's one option in the curl that is, let me show you, that is called X, where you can specify the method. This is called request method. Okay, so curl here, guys, you can use X or hyphen a request method. But by default, if you don't write X or write X, they are the same. So curl by default only sending the GET request only. But in the future, if an API need or endpoint needs some other method, then we have to change with X option. If you want to use curl, like post or something, we'll have to change in the future. Okay, let's come to this point. So mostly client side, we always want mostly the data in the plain text. Okay, plain text type. But if one app is trying to communicate to other app, this also, guys, a lot of use cases we have. Okay, so this app want to communicate with this app, they're going to request and want they will respond. Here, both the side we have app, or both the side we have the services. Maybe this both the service microservices. So microservice is very common thing. One microservice coming to other services, the request. Okay, where the request, again the same URL, what the URL we have, the way we connect. Okay, but in the microservice world, okay, mostly when this app will give the data to this app, okay, we don't want data to be the plain text. Plain text data is not useful actually. Okay, between the two apps or two services, we need data in a different format. What format? Let's say you want, okay, let's say this is the app. This was one more app. This is app number 1, app number 2. App number 2 want to produce some data. Let's say they want to produce my name, Vimal, or somebody's name. They want to produce some ID. They want to produce some mobile number. This data. So you requested for some data or some information. This could get. Okay, is one of the method from REST APIs. Okay, and this app will produce this data. They give this data to you. Which format? This format. How this format look like? Pure plain text. Now, why does app want this data? Because app want to use this data for doing something. Maybe they want to send WhatsApp messages or SMS. Okay, but point here, in this plain text data, how my app 1 come to know which is name, which is ID, which is mobile number? How they come to know this is the mobile number or this is the mobile number? Because they want to retrieve this data only so that they can send the SMS. Because this app duty is to send the SMS. So this is the app or the microservice for sending SMS. This app and microservice who will collect data from somewhere else. And both microservices work together to do something. Okay. The point here is how they know this is the mobile number. That is a reason what we have to do. This app, rather than send this data in this way, what they can do, they can give some key to this data, like a name, like a variable as an ID, like a variable name as a mobile number, mob. So wherever thing, if somebody want to use individual data, somebody mostly the app, other app or service or program, always give data a key or the variable name. Typically in this world, this is known as key. Give the key to your value. This is called key value pair. Then send it. Okay. Send this data with a key value pair. Okay. When this data reach, now this app know, now this key is mob, this is ID, this is name. Now I don't know the mobile number, but I know the key name. What is key? Mob. So I'll create a code, go to this key, go to the variable, key is more like a variable, retrieve the value, take this mobile number, send the SMS. Okay. But how they know which key to use? Because before this, they will sync, right? Both the app is mostly created by you guys. Or maybe this app is created by some other company, this app is created by you. So that company posted in the document that these are the key we are using. Okay. Well, if you want to retrieve the mobile number, use this key. Okay. Or if both the app is created by you, so you know what key you're using. So when you get this data, you retrieve this key only, and you get the data and do the things, right? The point here is, this is app created by you, maybe you, this can be created by you, or this can be by other companies. Okay. So maybe let's say this app is created by you, Tutor, and this app is created by you. Tutor is keep on providing the tweets in some URL, some APIs, and you have to consume it, you have to use it. That's a very common thing. Okay. So it means between both the apps or both the service or both the microservice, you have to use some standard format. Means you can't use name equals to Vimal, you can't use mob equals to some number, you can't use let's say ID equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is a key value pair, but you have to use some standard key value pair. Okay, standard means, okay, you either after name you give some space, or name after give equals to, or name after give colon. So either use this standard space, or comma, or colon, or this space, means to differentiate key value pairs. Also, we have to use some standard that to tell this is one key value pair. After this, second key value pair. After this, second key value pair. So either you use comma, or enter, or space, or new line. Some standard you have to use to tell these are different key value pairs. So mostly, guys, there's a lot of standard available in the market to share. Here, only point is how to share the information between two services. So if you want to share information between or data between two services or two apps, the very famous and commonly used format we use to exchange the data is JSON. So JSON is a very commonly used standard. This is called JavaScript object notation. So anybody who knows JavaScript, not Java, JavaScript not talking about. So in JavaScript, the way we get the objects, same notation we use here. Because JavaScript is very famous in the web technology world. So what is syntax? JavaScript support for the class and object, same syntax we support here. And what JavaScript support? Okay, they say if you want to inform and to store this data, then you have to put an entire data, one single kind of data or one single object in this curly braces. Between key and value pair, you write colon. And after every key value pair, you write comma. And last, you don't need to write comma here. So this is one information or one object. Okay, or maybe you can write after the if this is string, most not always compulsory, but in the string you can put double quotes single. Okay, so this is about JSON, JavaScript object notation. So normally, guys, in the API world, REST API, HTTP, web application, mobile application, to exchange data between two services, the very commonly used notation or the way we exchange data, not in the plain text, we always send in the JSON world. So back to this point. Okay, if you are sending data between client, your normal browser, to app, then here we use plain text or we mostly use HTML format that browser support. But between two apps, especially web technologies or API world, we share the access information into the JSON format. Or if you guys belongs to mostly the cloud world or DevOps world, okay, so this is one of the DevOps tool and you're the user of it. Again, there also guys you have to exchange data. There mostly we use a format. Same concept, we use a format called YAML. Okay, but we are not here in the DevOps here. Right now we're in the app development or this part, web development. So here we between two apps or less than two microservices, the very commonly way to exchange data, we use JSON. It means my app has to produce the data. Okay, right now we are producing into the, what I say, we're producing data into the, into where it is, into plain text is working good, but between two apps, when one app will produce data and the other will going to consume it, there you will face the issues. Okay, face the issues. So now what you do, only things you have to change. Again, convert this data from the text format. Even if I go to a browser again very quickly. Right now I'm getting the data into the plain text. How I know? Again, right, open inspect. I go to network tab, refresh the page. You can see your server is responding you response into the plain text. But no, I want JSON. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to do at the server side. Okay. Again, technically, if you create by yourself things from the starting, that a lot of code you write, but your annotation produce give these options to you. Okay. And what can I do? I can change here my media type dot, and here I want to use application JSON. That's all. I want to produce my data into this format, application JSON. Okay, but it's up to your choice. This function is producing application JSON. This function is providing text plain. All the kind of here customization you can do, whatever you want to do here. Okay, but anybody come to this endpoint, this function run give the output into the application JSON, means in the JSON format. Okay, save this, and let me run my code. So this is a terminal we are having. Okay, let me stop. Okay, and let me run one more time. Change the code, the recompile, and now what you will see then. Let's see. Now, anybody come to /hi? Okay, /hi. Normal plain text will come up. But if anybody come to /sum, okay, output guys again look like, not exactly look like JSON. Okay, look like JSON. Maybe let me run in my command line. Browser normally does not give you properly. Let me run the command line. Sum. Again, look like a normal plain text only. See here. Plain text only. It's not converting to JSON format. Okay, JSON format normally look like this. The way I explained to you, curly braces and all the things. This is what mostly they look like. Okay, why not converting? Okay, so before this, let me show you guys when I run this code, next time compile, they might give you some warning or errors here. They give some warning. Okay, what they say in this Quarkus code, they detected some JSON to be used with JSRS. JSRS is like a REST APIs. In this class, in this functions here, in this function. But no JSON extension is added. Okay, what do I mean by this? Okay. And this one thing is, whatever you want to do, Quarkus is just a framework, like a platform. Whatever Quarkus want to do, you have to give the libraries to the Quarkus. For example, you have to expose, you have to give the REST API libraries. Because we have this library installed, we can expose it. Okay. Similarly, okay, converting to JSON, we can write here, converting my data into JSON format, this kind of format. This also done by some kind of library. Okay, but Quarkus does not have that library. And library for the Quarkus perspective is also known as extension. We don't have that extension here. And that's where the error was coming. And this was just a warning. So we do, because they don't have, they will again send into a normal text format. But they say we don't have any JSON extension or the JSON library on the top of Quarkus. Okay. So it means when you install the Quarkus install limited library, whatever minimum we need, or limited extension they installed. One of the extension they installed is REST Easy. But we need more extensions, more libraries. Okay, as you progress, we keep on adding the libraries or the extensions. Okay, guys, libraries also for the Quarkus world known as extension for Quarkus. Same thing. Okay, how to install? So for this, what can we do? Okay. So guys, Quarkus is a platform, right? Okay, we installed Quarkus or the library with the help of Maven. Maven is the one who do the things for us. Maven is the one who go to internet, download the libraries known as extensions. So who installed this one for us that makes our things exposed? REST-EG, Maven. Okay, so Maven is a different tool we use in Java to get the Java project, run it, compile it, plus also to download the libraries. And how download? Maven download the library. So Maven use their own configuration file. Okay, so whichever library you want to download, okay, and you want to take the help from Maven, you write the library name inside the configuration file. And this config guys in the Maven on POM file, pom.xml file. Okay, so when you create a project, this file automatically created. If you see in the left side, in the second last line somewhere here, you can see pom.xml. This is the file, not for Java, not for Quarkus, it's file for Maven. It's an independent tool altogether. This is how Maven look like. And all the information, guys, we have given till date initially that my artifact name is this one, my group ID is this one. This is also Maven update here. You know that big command that I ran initially with Maven, right? So information about project or folder, Maven stored these information. Or much more information we can give here inside this file. This is a Maven internal configuration file. We'll see more about it. Okay, but if you go down, okay, this will tell you, or this will tell the Maven, this current project, what we're going on Mars REST API, my REST app, is depend upon, this called dependencies, upon multiple different libraries. One of the libraries is called Quarkus Arc. One of the libraries is Quarkus REST API. Okay, so when you install the Maven project by this command, okay, automatically all the minimum required library they download. Why? Because they write in this file. So all of this will be discussed in the future when we need it. Okay, so these are the name of the libraries: library 1, library 2, library 3, or software 1, package name, whatever say here, or maybe extension also. You can use the word. Okay, what are these? We'll discuss. Okay, but here we don't have any library, because again, one more thing, guys, because of this library, we can perform REST API things. Because of this library, we can use this keyword. Because this library, these kind of packages come to us. Okay, but we don't have any library known as JSON. So we have to add one more library here. How? For this syntax is, this is what the keyword will write. We can copy this code, enter, paste. Okay, and here we have to give the library name, and one of the library name is called Quarkus REST-EG JSON B. This is the name of the library they have. Even though you don't have to memorize, you just copy this some name, or maybe search in the Google that I want Quarkus. I want Quarkus REST-EG JSON B as library name, something like this. Okay, so maybe somewhere you can send the other keyword that I'm looking for. Quarkus library that will help us to create the JSON code. So maybe somewhere you can find the library name. I have to find out. Maybe, or let me search Quarkus. Okay, REST easy JSON, okay, B. So maybe this may be the name of the library. Library is like a software, right? So this is more look like a library name. So that's what I write here. My library is Quarkus REST AP REST EG JSON B. And this library inside this folder or this website or this namespace, that's what I write here, this group. Okay. You just type the library name. Now Maven will automatically download the library. Even though we have a Maven command, but right now Maven, we are running this project inside the IDE. So as you save this file, okay, automatically your IDE will behind this and download this library for you. So you don't have to worry about this. Okay. So we'll download this library for you. I think they have already downloaded in my case. Okay. So this is one thing. So Maven responsibility is if you need more functionality in the Quarkus, you need more extensions. Every extension is like a one artifact, one library. Okay. Depending on the requirement, you have to install, download this library. And who will download for you? Maven. Tell them, Maven, I have a dependencies. I need more libraries. So copy this code as it is and tell the name of the library and which group they belongs to. The simplest way to check it is go to this website. Maven repository is a central website. And almost all the Java libraries available. They will tell you the name of library. This one. Okay. What they will do? Okay. Any REST API call, they convert to JSON. Why we will discuss, but they convert to JSON. Okay. That's what they tell you. And this library is into this group, this folder. Okay. That's what they write here. When you save this project, automatically your mostly ID will download the Maven for you. Okay. Or maybe you can say load Maven changes. Okay. There's option here at the top. So you can see sync option here in left side. Sync normally means based on this project, whatever change in this Maven. Okay. Any library you want to download, that's what they do. In my case, they do very quickly because most of the things we have already downloaded in my case. Okay. Now this is done. Now let me run my project again. So we was working on this project. Okay, let me close this. And the bottom bar, guys, you can see terminal option. This project was working. Okay, let me Control C. Stop. Yeah, whatever library you attach, if not properly supported in this project, then there might be some kind of error warning come up. There's a different point. But this is the one. I'm just giving the idea. So see, this thing we'll do multiple times. Lots of extension we're going to add in the Quarkus. Okay, and we keep on doing it. Maybe I can see some kind of warning errors here. So they say please only required capabilities. IO Quarkus REST is provided by this. Maybe guys, the capabilities what I'm trying to add here, this might not work. Okay, I have to check in our code which library it support. Okay, but this is also one of the things they support. Let me check. So here it was IO Quarkus, then REST easy JSON B. That's what mostly I use. This should support. Okay, and one more thing I want to check here: Quarkus REST easy. Okay, so guys, there's a lot of library. By chance, if you want to use this library, then REST easy, I have to use only REST easy. I'm going to remove the reactive. What reactive we might discuss in the future. I think this error was coming up. They say this reactive library for REST-EG might not support this. So just say use this. Instead of this, use this. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this library name. Okay, on reactive is not important right now to discuss, but based on my error, what I've figured out in this error, that I was using reactive one some name. They're asking me to use this. They might support this one. Although you can see the document also, we can find there. As we progress, we'll see more about it, but I think this should work now. Okay, guys, this things we're going to do multiple times in the future classes. You become more comfortable on it. Okay, but at least you get the idea what is extensions, right? Any function we add, if it's not provided by default here, we do keep on adding the thing. Now it's work good. There's no error as such. Okay, and now if I go to my command again, last time we were generating output. Again, we're generating 7 because I don't think so. There's some kind of JSON, but we can see in the browser actually. Command line does not see because there's no keyword attached. But if I see the command line, okay, and in the command line, if you inspect command, network, and if I refresh, okay, here you can see. Okay, here you can see the response in JSON format. Okay, request is coming in the JSON format. That's what you can see here. Last time request was coming into text format, but this time request means response, not request. Response is coming from the 7 JSON format. Okay, output is 7 only because in my code, what I created, we don't use any key value pair there because my code is just a normal text, like 7. Here also, guys, we write something as a key value pair. How we'll see in the next class. Okay, so that's what the output is 7, but inside the code come up data in a media type, also known as content type को JSON. So other service normally won't always that in the JSON format. But here we only values coming up. Only value does not make sense. So in the next class, I am going to add some key there. So other application can consume it properly and use it properly. That is a part of your program, developer part. You don't have to worry about it. Means developer will do. We'll see in the next class, but how to add this key. But if you call somebody call hi, okay, hi here, then it will be normal plain text. How I know? If I inspect this, not this one. If I inspect this or network part, refresh this page, you can see now it is coming a normal plain text. So you can see the difference, right? We don't want most in plain text, we want in JSON. Why I explained to you, but how to use this, we'll see in the future classes. One more small thing, guys, don't be confused by this. If I had some, okay, in my browser, you can see output in this format. Why? Because in my browser, my client-side browser, I added actually one extra extension here in the browser. So I have some extension here running in my browser, okay, JSON viewer browser. Okay, so any data come as a JSON type, my browser automatically change my name, change my look and feel. Okay, so don't be confused. In your browser, you might not see this kind of output, but in your client-side browser, you can install this JSON Viewer Pro kind of app or extension. So any JSON output come up, you can see the output coming this way, chart and JSON output. Okay, right now it does not make any sense, but in the future, when a lot of JSON output come up, we can have proper tree structures. I can do a lot of things there. So it does not come out by default. Whatever browser you have, Chrome, Firefox, you can install that extension in the browser. You know, this extension is JSON Viewer Pro, something like this. Okay, so guys, that's all from my side today. Give you lots of information right now. Whatever you know in the Java, or you guys might not know it also. You can use this code for practice, but your functions now has a capability to call without main function from the URL or by the help of URL by the clients. That's what we have added, and multiple different kind of settings we have done. Okay, now this concept REST API is not complete REST API. We are building it. After we build the entire REST API, all the concept I can say, then I will explain you REST API and API gateway. You guys will get very quickly the actual meaning of REST API. Okay, I'll try to make this topic very simple, but if you try to learn REST API, Quarkus, or these things, anywhere you'll see guys very, very complex to understand directly. But I know I make this thing very, very simple for you to understand the actual flow and the use of this topic. This topic is not completed. We'll continue next class, and then we'll see a lot of different things we can do in the GET. Then we move to POST and some more things. Okay. I highly recommend, guys, before the next class, if you will get some information about Java classes, constructors, video we have already shared to you, okay, as a code perspective, so that you will enjoy more in this topic. Okay. That's all, guys. Any query if you have, you guys can ask me. Fajan, key value concept is useful in anything. If one application want to, you can use other application. It's not always microservices. The key value or JSON format is very commonly used in the market. Very much amazing session, sir. Thank you very much, Deepak. Yes, Mohit, you can use you can run multiple projects at the same time. Only you have to change the port numbers. How to change the port number? I'll tell you in the Quarkus and upcoming classes. Great, sir. Thank you very much, Vinith. Yes, why not? Manoj, guys, the concept I created here is independent upon the IP address. If you run this same app in some other computer that has a public IP, anybody in the world can use this function. So it is not like this is only available for my local computer. Same code, if I run somewhere in my AWS cloud, where we have the public IP, anybody in the world can use same URL and they can run the functions, right? REST API I heard last 3 years. Now I got it. Thank you very much. Great, Malice. But we'll see more about it. Much clarity I got today, which made me to visualize my previous project on Spring Boot. Yes. Yes, this concept is similar. Spring Boot, Micronauts, these are different frameworks. The concept is same. Okay. This concept you can apply anywhere. Where we exactly use microservice, Rahul, very high level, I discussed in my first classes. But we are into the progress toward the microservices. In some classes, you will come to know the right use case and right way to implement the microservice. Just wait for some time. Just keep on getting the the concept first. Yes, with API gateway is just a concept. And AWS is one service, by chance service name also API gateway. So any implement of API gateway, you can also create on that of AWS API gateway services also. Same thing, resources, route, everything is same. Ankit, maybe in my upcoming class, I might help you to explain you difference between REST and SOAP and GraphQL. Let me first complete the REST API. So whenever we need to discuss the difference, I will definitely tell you. But for this, let me first explain the REST API completely, then I can help you. Okay. So Ashutosh, we don't need npm command, right? This project is not okay. This project is not for Node, right? We use npm command for the Node. This project for Java, like we have npm in Node. Similarly, for Java, we have a Maven. Okay. My dad was listening to your session today. He was saying that we young generation is lucky to have the technical leader like Ramesh sir. Okay, thank you very much, Ramesh. Thank you for this great word from your dad. Thank you very much. Samriti, if you missed some of the 7 minutes of the class today, maybe you can take the help of some technical volunteers. They will definitely help you to explain you what past part you missed. Okay. So, guys, we can't provide you the entire video classes every day. Whatever the classes I feel like is very complex, and I feel like it should be provided to revise to everyone. We will provide you. That's what we done in the last class. I don't think so. Nothing complex to again revise in this topic. Code I'll share to you. Practice this code they will explain to you. Okay, but we don't want to provide the video classes again because I told you the reason. I tell you the reason. I want you guys will join live with me. So we have dedicated for this time for learning this topic, right? But if you really feel that you need to revise the topic, there's a different point. And then that particular class you can ask to my team, they will give to you. There's a different point. Thank you for explaining this about REST API. Since many years, there was huge confusion on the topic. Okay, nice, Pramod. Even though it's not completed, so don't conclude. We have a lot more to discuss. Okay, but it's the base we have created today. Okay. Can microservice do data combination code across different class program file? Okay. No, it is not like this. Manoj, technically, I don't understand what exactly you asked, but what I understand from your line, it is not like this. Okay, we have different programs, different classes, mostly and then different the computers, and they communicate to each other to solve one big challenge. Okay, again, harder to explain you. I told you multiple times, guys. I need some more classes. Let's build more of concepts first. Okay, then I connect those concepts together. Then you can properly understand the power of microservices. Okay. I'm getting error that not running build failure. Mostly, Abdul, this error might be because of syntax error. Okay, just get this code, check the syntax error, check the capital letter where you have. Okay, none of the keywords should be in the red color. Okay, just try to see. This is mostly the cases. Just try to compare with my code. I'll share the code with you guys. Okay. Eagerly waiting for future classes. That's what I also, guys. That's all, guys. See you in the next class. And in the next class, Himan, that you have to prioritize, right? You have to think what you will get from Earth, what you will get from the final semester. Just think for the future goal. Okay. So if you think your final semester exam result 50%, 60, 70, 80, 90% help you in your future job or future promotions, giving better jobs, better salary, packages, role. Okay. You have to go for final semester examination. Focus more there. I'm not saying don't apply for it. Go for exam, pass it. I'm talking about focus and the priority. Okay. So priorities, you have to do the prioritize, right? What you to prioritize. Or if you think no, Earth, learning these skills is going to help us to get better jobs, package, salary, and future also huge promotions, keep on having the future after get the job, then go for Earth. Means I'm saying prioritize more Earth. Okay, or maybe you can balance also. But before by doing the balance also, you have to also you think which one to give more priority. Okay, so it's a game of the priority. The life is all about priority. Whichever you give the priority, you will reach there. Your future will decide upon what you give priority in today's present, right? That's what the future is. That's what a career is. Okay. So for Earth student, we are soon planning, guys, for you about the focus classes, mind training, how to concentrate more, how to focus more, and all the things. Soon we are going to start for you guys, right? Okay. So that's all, guys. See you in the next class. Bye. Take care. Good day. Take care. See you. Good night.